So today I wanted to work on the skyline here. Kind of fades up in the background. Not quite sure how to get that specific yellow, so I'm gonna work on it. Maybe let's try that. Start up there. See where we get to. You and probably gonna need you guys today. And let's go with, I guess, white. See where we get to with that. Because yeah, it's this bit right here. It's very faint yellow, but it's not the pale yellow I have for her. It's a light yellow orangish. Not sure how to go about it, so let's figure it out. Doesn't quite look right, but maybe we can touch it up as we go. Let's see. It's not right. It's not right. How do I get that color? Can I even get that color? How would I get that? I think I might need to go and get some more paint. All things considered. Well, let's see if I can add just like a touch of red to just like bring it back into the realm of yellow. Target, maybe? I don't know. Let's find out. Very pale. Closer to a sunset color. Why don't we try some of that? Go with the mid-tone and then try and work our way up to the highlight there that we're going with. Oh, it just looks like skin. Yeah. How do you make a sky? does one make a sky? Especially a yellow like that. Because if I go with the other yellow, they'll just end up looking like her skin there. Well, let's give it a shot. See what this looks like. Not horrid, not horrid. Well, let's work with it. Let's see where we get to on it. So, not quite there, not quite there. Don't know what I'm missing though. Maybe I just need really, really bright highlights. And like almost a white. Let's see if that'll help it out some. Alright. So I'm not sure how to get it a deeper color. I don't think I have the ability to with what I got. While also making it brighter. It's not quite how paint works. Yeah, I learned this on a previous project I was doing. Where I was trying to make an orange, very, very saturated orange, but I couldn't mix that color. It just kept getting diluted. So I had to go out and buy a new paint tube. Never did get around to finishing that one. Don't think I will. It had some other issues in it too. Ones I didn't quite plan for. But that whole process did teach me a few things. Which is pretty nice. It's kind of what they were all for. I'm still not quite sure how to handle the white outline they've got on this portrait. It's I've never quite done a transparency border thing like that before, so I'm hopeful it'll work out. But in the meantime, we're working on the sky and such. I think I do need to touch up this mountain range here, because it doesn't quite go to where I have it, where it should be rather. Alright, that's the bottom bit. Ish. Let's just keep going along. Figure it out as we go. As we have for everyone prior. And the other thing we could do is just change up the scene so it's not exact, which technically I've already done in a couple spots. Not entirely intentionally, but that's what's happened. Must be a very short sky session, I guess. And one of the other things is that the dark cloud, the bits right there. That's a bit of a blend. It'll be kind of tough. Because black doesn't, well, it can, that's how I do most of my shading. We'll see, we'll see. Oh yeah, yeah, this next month is October, and there's likely going to be a Halloween contest again for the Dream Keepers. I'm thinking about that a bit. Not quite sure what project to work on. What to accept as a concept for it. Let's go with the other black, because it's not quite solid. It's a bit fuzzy. They do also have a bit of a blue tint at the top. Probably for the darker nighttime sky. We can work with that. Maybe. Work with like maybe a blue up top. Not bad, not bad. I do need to mix it up some. It's not just a solid line where it separates it. It's got a bit of a cloud here, a bit over there, something like that. Clouds. How do we do happy little clouds? We'll see, we'll see. This goes up to about there or so for a happy little sky. Still a bit bright. Might need some darker bits to actually put that in, or maybe a bit more paint. We'll see, we'll see. Maybe I can also focus on the outline today. Get that set up some. Okay, so I think that is the base layer to work from. Maybe a bit more there. But yeah, I've been thinking about that Halloween competition. I think I'd really like to try that again. See what I can get into. Okay, so one of the things to try here is very simple dry brush. Not too much paint. Let's try to see how well we can blend it in a little. Oh, that was a little too much. But they are clouds. So clouds are a bit ethereal. A bit translucent, not quite entirely there. I could also fix it up later, paint over it with a couple of white streaks, brighten it up, and then paint back over it with brown. It's black here, and get it to give it a bit more proper color definition or so. I don't know. Let's give it a shot. That? Not bad. They're not stupendous, but we're not looking for stupendous. We're looking for good. Alright, but the Halloween thing, I'm looking for concepts. One of the things, the whole contest is Halloween oriented. So try and have something in their world, the Dreamkeepers. This is one that has some highlights, like right about here or so. They've got some white cloud overlapping. Let's go the brown and then have the yellow over it. I think that'll work out. But I've got a lot of concepts, but I don't quite know what to go with. Which one would work better? The other one I did last year was V turned into a vampire in some kind of fancy pose. That actually was not the original idea at all. Originally it was her sister, no, Nama's sister, Lilith. Man, it's been a while. I need to reread that story again. Her sister, Lilith's sister. Back up. Nama's sister, Lilith, was who I was originally going to make a character for, and I was going to have her be like a business zombie. Hello. No, this is normal. This is my standard hours. I get up at 4 and stream till 6. I've been doing that for about a year now. I used to do it earlier because satellite. But yeah, no, this is when I'm up. And thank you again for the tip. I was not expecting something like that. Last dude to do it gave me $3, and that was what I was kind of expecting. I was not expecting that much. But yeah, you can contact me in other ways. We got Discord, Twitch directly, YouTube, whatever. I check most of them. But yeah, Um, uh, I asked for a commission. I can't words today. I was talking to you about what you may want me to paint. Um, I asked that of most everybody as well, but it gives me another something interesting, something new to work towards. But if you use it, I will probably for more paint, honestly. Stuff that I'm missing. But yeah, I think I might go with Sailor Moon, though Phoenix Wright might be. I don't know. It's just another project because it's this stream. I've tried not to be as this is my show. This is what I'm gonna do. So I do that on occasion because you know what? Screw it. Let's go do this for now. Which is kind of currently where we are with painting. I've been painting for the month of September. A bit of August, I guess. Then we'll shift back to more normal stuff later. But yeah, it's I like trying to get new concepts, new things, because a lot of what my personal roadblocks tend to be at times is I don't do things because I don't think of them. It didn't come to me. So it's interesting seeing other people's viewpoints or other people's ideas. Hell, the do what you enjoy. Well, thank you. I'll do so. Though, maybe it'll be a pseudo commission, a request, maybe. Is maybe the proper term. But yeah, the Umineko stuff I've got here. It was honestly recommended by some of my viewers. It's like, you should read the Umineko series. Alright, I'll go do that. I think I picked it up on a sale way back when. Yeah, let's go do that. And there, afterwards, spent like an entire year of my life dealing with witches and murders and magic and laughs. And then I started painting, and then I started here. And it's just fascinating how just like some simple comments, some simple suggestions can lead you down all sorts of different paths you wouldn't normally have looked at otherwise. So I always welcome people's ideas, whatnot. I may not follow through with them, but it's always nice hearing more options, more views on life. It's always helpful that way. Alright, so we've got a bit of yellow. This bit right here. You can't see it in the paper here because it got cut off. But on the picture there, they've got this like a white streak here. A bit of a... And this one is a bit more side to side. That's too solid. It's a bit too solid. I need to pare that back down. But yeah, doing what you enjoy. That's kind of what my channel was about. Somewhat. I've got my name, Looking for Craft, because I've spent a long time trying to figure out, answer the question of what the hell do I want to do? Which has always actually been a very problematic question for me, because maybe not quite that right. Because I've always had an issue. I can do a lot of things, but I never knew quite what to do about it. And it's always been real hassle for me. I've never known what to do. The exact thing to do, the perfect situation, and I've struggled with that quite often, quite literally for years. Kind of started after high school. After high school, I give me a sec here, trying to touch this up. After high school, I decided I didn't want to deal with the real world for a bit, so I took some time off. I was going to take maybe about a year or so, just kind of chill out, do something I want to do, and then get back into it later. And one of them was start my own business, because my parents, that's what they did. They started their own business making suits of medieval armor. I kid you not. Yeah, and that was our main income for most of my life. My dad's recently retired and the site's down, so I can't show you it. But I know his work's out there somewhere, if you want to see some of it. But they started their own business, and I wanted to do the same, but with something I truly was passionate about. The only problem was I wasn't passionate about anything, really. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so, this isn't quite right. And so I started a journey of trying to figure out what it was. I tried programming, video game making, because that's what every kid wants to do when they start out. Turns out I could do it, but it wasn't fun for me, especially the programming. I could do the programming, but it was a grind, not quite. Yeah, it's they did have a website, but it's since a few years ago been we've given up the domain, so you can't look at it anymore. But if you look up Illusion Armoring, what is that? If you look that up, you might find some people showcasing some of the armor or something in forums or whatnot. They really did like the armor. It wasn't anything stupendous. It was just high quality, mid-grade armor. So it wasn't like cheapo stuff somebody just hammered out a tin can and gave it to somebody. But it wasn't the takes 20 years and it's like perfectly flawless type stuff. But yeah. But anyway, yeah, I started the journey of trying to figure out what the hell I wanted to do in life. Started with programming, video game making, didn't pan out. Tried drawing. It was okay, but I had the issue of I couldn't draw the fictional, which is what I really wanted. Fantasy, creatures, dragons and shit. But I didn't know how to draw them, and all I could do was draw from reference, which I'm learning is part of what I needed to do. To do doll repaints, huh? I've never quite done doll repaint stuff. It's never quite been my thing. I've always been a bit of a vanilla guy. But if you look over there, I've got some dolls as well, and that was another endeavor I went down. And that's actually what started me streaming, was those dolls. But yeah, I'll get to it. So I started with drawing, that didn't work out. I tried sculpting, that was okay, but didn't quite pan out. I was pretty good at it, but I didn't know what to do with it. I tried making model kits, like the stuff up there, which was okay, but I couldn't quite handle the sculpt it in pieces part. That was weird and hard to work around. Then I did some jewelry, chainmail making, potentially gonna do some like cosplay design, And then I started up my channel with sewing doll clothes. And I was gonna try and make cosplay doll outfits, was the concept for it. And it was okay, but it took a long time. I was doing it all by hand too, and I was learning how to draft patterns on the go. It was cool, it worked out, but I couldn't ever figure out how to get a proper, accurate measurement off of them. It was always off. In some way, somehow, I couldn't ever get a good measurement. Discord? Alright, give me a sec. Yeah, I need to fix that. Give me somewhere on here. There we are. That's friends. Shit. Give me a sec. I've got Discord links somewhere in here. I remember how to do it. Oh, there we are. That's the button I need. Where are we? Here. Give me a sec. Why didn't it? Give me just 2 seconds. That would be why I'm using the wrong keyboard. Problems with having multiple inputs. I've got this little mini laptop I've got over here. That's my main one, but then I have my main computer here. So there you go. That's the Discord link. Oh, cool. It's not much of a Discord. It's kind of quiet. Not too many people there. But yeah, it's people have changed, come and gone and whatnot. But yeah, it's what I started doing. It's hopefully it'll get bigger and stuff. But I've just been sitting here painting, doing some stuff. But yeah, I started doing a cosplay on the dolls, or trying to. Can't see it, but I handmade a belly dance circle skirt with slits. Yeah, a slitted circle skirt. As my main thing. I then tried drafting and designing a bra, which is actually really complicated for the doll, and that's kind of where it started falling out, because I needed exact measurements, but I couldn't get any. And when you're like working with millimeters, it's got to be kind of accurate. So that's where I ended up faltering and kind of setting it aside for the moment. I'd like to do more, but I found it wasn't working out as a business pursuit. And things just kind of evolved from there. I shifted over to 3D modeling because I was thinking about making custom dolls for people. Sculpt it out and then 3D print it and then make a mold of it or something of that nature. For people who wanted unique characters or something. Like they wanted a orc character that isn't quite as pretty and they don't have that out there, or they wanted their video game character made in doll form or something. Odd little stuff like that. They had the money but not the know-how, and they wanted to pay people to make a thing, but nobody would be willing to accept them. I saw that as a market to try and work towards, and I could do it, but then my hang up on that end was 3D printing. At the time I started doing that, the only 3D printing available was the oh, hey man, the little plastic extruder printers. You've seen them. They like put out a little line and like when they're finished, you've got like a bunch of ridges all over the thing. And that was the only 3D printing I had one of the concepts I was going with was take that and use that as a mold, but you can't. You'd have those ridges everywhere, and it doesn't work that way. So that fell through. I eventually did upgrade to a better one, but it could only make things this big, and so it just wasn't working out. So then we just kind of diverged to other things. I started streaming visual novels, just kind of a change of pace. Read Umineko, went into voice acting a little bit, and Umineko ended and started doing some painting. Here we are. But yeah, hey Matt. The dolls can be very tiny, but hell, there's those are actually relatively big dolls. Those are about 3 foot tall, about yay big, which is in the workable range. But when you get like a doll like this, and that's microscopic almost. It's going all right. I'm doing the sky painting and currently working on the outline on her. But yeah, and talking about dolls and different things. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And it's fascinating, just all the different directions you can go in. Cause yeah, learning about the doll stuff, I is that here? That's over there. In order to figure out how to yeah, it's a like started with dolls, man. Figure out how to craft the clothing, because I like being accurate. I don't like the hacks on projects. Like, they're interesting, they're neat to witness, but I don't like doing them. Like, for instance, one of them, still like those Puppet Master dolls, right. Maybe someday. Maybe I can do it on off hours. I'll look into it. Oh yeah, those ones I ordered from Timbuktu never came. It just straight up lost that $10 or whatever I paid for them. Yeah, that never came through. I know. I'm just gonna assume they got scammed or something. Leave it at that. But yeah, it's maybe I can give that a shot. I don't know. Currently, I'm working on painting. I found that if I try and do too many things at once, I get none of them done. So I'm just focusing on one step at a time. Sec, trying to get this line all touched up. And I know I could do a lot of that stuff, but it'd take a lot of effort and investment to get it going. Just one thing. Yeah, it's that's what I found with my channel, looking for craft. I think at one point I was doing like 3 things a week, and it was getting really hard to keep it all in check. I think it was Princess Guard, Umineko, and an art stream, and a Lazy Sunday stream. So it was just shifting all over the place. One of the things was there was no sense of cohesion. It was all stuff I was doing, but doing this and that and this and that and this and that, and it just felt kind of like a mess. It's a lot simpler, just like this, one thing at a time, one step at a time. And it's one of the other things I've learned along the way. It's okay to let go of some of the things. You can't do everything. You can learn to do it all, but you can't physically do it. There's just not enough hours in the day, not enough time in the world. And so I've started taking steps back and focusing on just a couple of things. It's working out, I guess. For now, anyway. But yeah, so that's currently why I'm doing just the painting for now. It's like trying to multitask. You can do it, but you lose a sense of what you're doing sometimes. One of the other things I've learned, definitely, I was talking about, I was trying to start my own business doing this stuff. And I found when I focused on trying to do something that makes money as a business endeavor, I would get myself all anxious and paranoid about, well, is this really what I want to do for the rest of my life type of thing? Because I was working backwards, what will make money that I could settle with, as opposed to what do I want to do that has the potential to make money. 20 projects. yeah, it's and one of the things I think that can help with some of the getting 20 projects thing is learning to do things faster. Because, for instance, this project is taking about a week and a half for this one, and if I learn to paint faster, I can do more projects. If I can learn to be better at it, at less mistake work, I can do more of them. And so that's one of the things I'm trying to pick up currently. Get better, do it a bit more often, a bit faster, and I can do more of it. Because before, it's just, I was sitting here trying to figure out how to do one thing for a month. And I did it. And then starting up the next one, it might be a bit faster, but I'd still take like another month for a project or so. And while that came out with a good looking project, it didn't quite come out with a multitude of them, which is, again, where I had some issues personally with getting things done. So I'm trying to work towards that. Just all these little things and stuff. But yeah, that's when you actually are able to finish a project. That's a good milestone. For instance, I finished that one. That one is still in, instead of, can you even see that one? No, I can't. Yeah. Her down there. It's currently in a state of limbo. Trying to figure out how to do faces a bit better by painting the sky. Somehow it makes sense, trust me. I think. But yeah, I would very much like to finish that and get it just right, because I'm actually pretty proud of that one and how it came out. All 90% of it, except for the face. I can't do that face. It's driving me up a wall, honestly. Oh, and I need to do the mouth. I need to do the mouth on the Amazon here. When it comes out well, it's like, and that's, yeah, because on some of my other projects, it took me a very, very long time to get it done. And it was nice when I did, but it sounds kind of weird. But if I could, don't know quite how to put it. It took me, like last year's Halloween thing. It took me like 2 months to finish that project. I'm working most every day on it, and I finally finished it. And I was really proud of it, but I only had one thing done for all of 2 months. It took me forever, and it was like, all right, cool, I did it. Now what? And it was somewhat of a bittersweet feeling. I still am proud of what I made there, but I know I could have done more. I know I not necessarily a better project, but more projects, more things. And so I want to try and focus on that a bit. Just get them. I don't know, just that sense of when you finish something, and once every 2 months isn't quite as nice as once every couple of weeks, I guess. That's one way to put it. So I'm working with smaller projects at the moment, and I think one of my issues is I tend to do like really big projects because they're all awesome or something. But then I'm in over my head, I guess. Doing things I don't know how to do in scales that are a bit more than I should probably have worked on. But yeah, it works out, I guess. Well, not quite. Too much time on one thing, and I see that as well with myself. Too much time on one thing. It's, you want to get it right, you want to get it perfect, and I found that exact mindset is what makes you take so long to do things, and especially when you don't have a deadline to work from. If you just, that's a lot of paint. If you just, I'm gonna make, like for instance, there's painting. I'm gonna make this painting. I've got no deadline. I just want to finish it. It'll be done when it's done. And currently, I've gone over a week on this. While that one there, the link picture, I specifically said I want to finish this in a week. And so it makes a difference. I pushed myself a bit further, a bit harder for that guy because I wanted it done fast, relatively. I wanted to see if I could do it. This one has no deadline currently. I'm gonna shoot for end of this week, maybe. It'll probably be done before that, but that's what I want to shoot for. Then I can shift over to the next project. But when you have just one big project and no deadline, you can sit on it literally for as long as you want, because there's no rush to finish, there's no rush to have it complete. You can spend all the time in the world and still make it perfect. Find that one little flaw there, fix it up, do what you like. Hell, kind of like a Beatrice, the endless game. Spend more time on it. Just keep going, just keep going. Work on it, work on it, work on it, and you can just work on it forever if you let yourself. But it's that mindset that also caused me to realize I need to do something different, because I was finding myself wanting to do more, or showcase what I've done, and having one stupendous piece is impressive, but not all that much. It's much better in the real world to have multiple pretty good things than one stupendous thing, because it just kind of seems to be the case. More experience that way. You may have experience on this one thing, but you don't have experience doing everything else. Too specialized, I guess, is one way to put it. Oh, fridge gasket, huh? So good in warm water. And it's nice when you can like figure out those cheap tricks like that. Oh yeah, speaking of back to one of the comments I was originally trying to get through. Yeah, cheap tricks. Like for instance, on the dolls' clothing, I had I've seen some videos of people making like how to make like one that sticks out because it was actually really clever was how to make a one-piece swimsuit on a Barbie doll. I don't own any Barbie dolls, but Shit. But in looking up how to make doll clothes, Barbie stuff pops up all the time. Anyway, it was this lady who made a one-piece Barbie outfit using a water balloon. And I thought it was like really ingenious, but it didn't quite sit well with me for what I wanted to do. Because it was just the water balloon that they made look like a swimsuit, as opposed to making a swimsuit for the Barbie doll. And that's where I started I wanted to make the outfit as an outfit, not a cheap look-alike. Or cheap. I wanted to make quality work. Like, for instance, some big old battle dress for some character or whatever. I wanted to actually make the battle dress, not something that was just kind of hot glued and taped together or something like that. So, I didn't like all those cheats and hacks and whatnot. I wanted to make the real thing, which is where I started going with the clothes. And one aspect of it was because some of the clothing is multi-layered. Like you've got the underwear, the midwear, the outerwear, things like that. And so I started with square one, the underwear, because to be frank, some of my dolls don't have any clothes because that's how they came. It was cheaper that way by a couple $100s. So they needed clothes. I needed to figure out how to make clothes for them. And the first step was the underwear. And they were all female, so I needed to learn how to make bras. So I've got a book that is how to draft and pattern bras, which I thought was absolutely perfect. Oh, this is exactly what I need. But it turns out that it was designed for humans, because why wouldn't a human? Why would you make it for anything other than a human, right? Turns out the most crucial piece of information they had, that everything was based off of, I couldn't scale down. They didn't give me a scale for it. It was the wire diameter. I had to try and reverse engineer how that shit worked. Because I'm also a dude. I don't have any of that stuff. So I can't quite comment on why things are the way they are. That was the other reason I got the book. Because I needed information on how to do it. I needed to know what the construction for it was. The whole the book had every process for how to do it except the starting line, and it drove me nuts. Because they used like, oh, just take one of your old bras and then find out the wire diameter of that, and here's the gauge for that. Cool, maybe I can use that. But they just had gauge 12.9. 12.9 what? What is that measurement for? Where does that go? What good does that do me? Well, if you have one like that, it should be a grade A. What does grade A mean? And it drove me crazy trying to figure that out. So I had to try and guess as to what it was referring to. And then work backwards from there. I eventually got something close, but then I had the issue of getting accurate measurements on the doll. Because all the tape measures are like that thick, but I needed something that thin to actually work and didn't deform. Too many damn options. Maybe. Because I could grasp the concept of how they were constructed. I just couldn't get a specific measurement for it. I could probably make one for a real person, but not for a doll. I eventually did make one that was pretty close. I was quite proud of, and I think I found it. Where do I have that? No, I don't think I finished it. I think it was kind of like a janky prototype that wasn't finalized, but fit well enough to work. But it was an interesting process. Very, very off. And then there's that aspect, because I was worried about that, because I've got a lot of Chinese measuring tapes, because that's where they all come from. And when you're using a measuring tape for like human proportions, quarter inch, not really a big deal. When you're working with a doll, quarter inch, huge deal. But hell, I don't even use inches. I have to use centimeters and millimeters on there. Each inch was off by a half inch. Well, at least if it's at least consistent, it's at least salvageable. But if it keeps getting weirder as it goes on, that's not really all that effective. But yeah, see, and that I think was another aspect of it, because I needed to measure the bust on the doll to get the actual measurement, and I was using these tape measures that just wouldn't conform to it. They were too fat and would kind of buckle, and that would change the measurement of it, because it doesn't work like that. And so I wasn't sure if this tape measure was accurate, if it was good enough. And then I'm measuring by like centimeters, millimeters, and like part of a millimeter, because that's how accurate I was trying to work it. And I couldn't get an accurate measurement. So then I tried working with, like, put a band of tape around there. That might work. But then how do I measure that band of tape? It was, I string it out and try and work it, but it didn't. At one point I had the whole body measured, filled out with tape. Tape on the bust, up, the chest, the bust, the underbust, the waist, the hips, shoulders, neck, arm circumference, thigh, knee, calf, ankle, foot, just about everything. Trying to keep it measured. I did it all right, and I tried to recreate based off those measurements, but they still weren't accurate. Because one of the other things is the dolls I was using, smart dolls, Dolphy Dream and the like, are vinyl dolls, and they squish. They're flexible. They aren't a rigid resin doll. And so I was trying to use tape to get an accurate measurement, but it would also sit there and flex, so I couldn't get a exact measurement. And I'm working with centimeters and millimeters, and as you can imagine, the whole thing went problematic. I managed to make one, but it was a hell of a hassle, and I couldn't ever get the measurements I needed for the outfits. And that's when I kind of just sat aside and did things differently. Oh, and that was another one. I looked up some tutorials and videos and such on like how to make a thing, how to make a piece of clothing for somebody. And then they go, okay, you get this measurement, and then you add 3.5 inches, and then you get 3.5 inches. Why am I adding the 3.5 inches? Please explain why I'm doing that. And they wouldn't. They would just kind of like, oh, just add this here, and you should be good enough. Adding 3.5 inches on a doll pattern won't work. That'll be 3 times the size of their chest. So why is that there? They wouldn't explain it. And then I'd look at like doll versions of it. Oh, I just found the sock and just kind of put it up there about right, and that's not accurate enough. That's not what I want. And yeah, so I was trying to bridge human clothing and doll clothing, and it just wasn't matching up. It was a pain. Yes, they were making real clothes. I was looking up tutorials on how to make like a real one for a person, seeing if I could maybe reverse engineer it for what I needed. But they always add, and just add 1.5 inches here and add 1/2 inch here, because you'll need it. Why? What does that scale down to? Why do you use 1/2 inch? What is that for? Why? Why specifically 1/2 inch? Because when you scale it down, you need to scale down that bit too, but they would just use a static measurement, not a, if you're this big, add 1 inch. If you're this big, add 1/2 inch. It's like, why am I adding that? What is that specific measurement for? Why? Answer it. It just, shit like that. I had to go through a lot to try and figure out anything, and then it didn't work. Alright, this guy is actually looking pretty cool. think in this spot, right over here on the picture, they've got a little tinge of blue. And I'd like to try and like work my way towards a little bit more blue. See what that might look like. Yeah. Well, I just pulled the number out of my ass. But yeah, it's just they add a few centimeters or inches or something, and it's just they add this little bit. What is that little bit? You added it because it's required. Why is it required? What is the metric for that measurement that you just tossed out there? Because yeah, even in the books that I had for the design pattern, okay, just add a couple inches here for you. But why? Why? Explain why that is there. Don't just... Because as a person, just add a couple inches or a centimeter or whatever. And like, it doesn't make a big of a deal. It's like 1/100th of a measurement for you that it's there for maybe like slack. I think it's slack. But what is the metric for that? Why is that the measurement and not... Why is 1 inch not 2 inch? What are you doing? I need to understand why that's there. And this is also back when I was trying to get everything exact. It was driving me a bit nuts. I'm working at trying to be less of a perfectionist, less of things have to be exact. Because this was, again, I didn't want to be a hack, making a shirt out of a tube sock or something like that. I wanted the outfit to be the outfit, what it was, and not just a simple makeshift type thing. And so I was trying to focus really hard on getting it exactly perfectly right, which drove me crazy. And I realize now I probably could have done a lot more close enough, let's see where it goes, and then work with it from there. I probably could have gotten a bit further if I went with that mindset, but I didn't know at the time, and hindsight 2020 and all that. Alright, so we've got some white here, and the fuzz in there somewhere. Give me a sec. So I'm trying to focus a bit less on getting it exact, and this painting is actually a good example of it. Right now, this skyline, it's good enough, but it's not exact. This color is a lot deeper and a lot brighter down here, but it's currently okay enough for me to say, it's good enough, let's go with it. But if I want to make this exact thing, this is horrible. This is not exact at all. There's flaws all over the place. If I was trying to make an exact duplicate type of thing. But that's a bit where I'm learning. I'm trying to work on just letting it be. Just let it go. Let's see where things fall in place. And I think this needed to be a little watered down. Not quite right, not quite right. Needs the... I think mix it a bit with the black. No, that's fine. It's, you've got a life. You've got things to do. Go do them. I'm not commanding your attention. Look at me, for I am perfect. Yeah, just go do your things. Come back if you want to. Leave if you want to. I'm not telling you to do anything. But yeah. There we go. That works out a bit better. I think I can feather it up into with the black. Just mix that in there a little bit. And then I can think just feather back into a darker blue maybe? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. No, it's fine. But yeah, I appreciate you guys being here anyway. It makes things a lot more interesting just being able to chat to people. Well, that's what my problem is. I've got it all backwards. Maybe. You know what? Redo. 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 Well, shit, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Honestly, I don't really have any problems myself, but recently, all the fires from California, Oregon, and our own state, Washington, have started putting a cloud over everything. There's a couple of satellite maps you can look at to follow the path of the clouds, the smoke clouds, and they're just flowing straight like north off of all the states. And it's just, you go into town and it's just a fog of smoke. It doesn't really help anybody. And the other aspect is if you're wearing the mask and the smoke and the smog, all that stuff, it really does hamper a lot of people. So yeah, it's not quite the best of times. 2020 kind of sucks for that. I need it really sucks. The best we can do is, I guess, keep calm and carry on. I still don't know what that's from. I know it's a British thing, but I don't know for what. Like a TV show or some commercial or just some meme that got spread around. I don't know what it's from. But it gets like tossed around every so often. Not really in my area. My area is very heavily redneck area, so British stuff is kind of lost for most people. But I don't know. It's always interesting. I always love seeing the origin of something, where it came from, something like that. But I don't know. I guess I'll have to figure it out some other day. All right. So I needed very, very light strokes down here. It's mixing with the white, so that's not really what we wanted. But it's the sky, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Hit our color, hit our color. Give me a sec. Mixing up paint. I should learn how to talk with a paintbrush in my mouth. Might be a useful skill. Maybe I should pick up ventriloquism. That might do it. Yeah, like ventriloquism. That is another thing. It's like I grew up with Scooby Doo, and in it Shaggy had the ability to throw his voice around, and I've never understood how that physically would work. I know you could like change like the pitch or sound of it, but how do you make it sound like it's coming from somewhere else? That just seems kind of like magic. How does that work? I don't know. But yeah, ventriloquism. That gateway to horror, huh? Well, it would be for a lot of people, I'd imagine. Honestly, one of my favorite. I had the Scooby-Doo Zombie Island. That was something I watched to hell and back. I watched a lot of that one. And they had that stupid musical chase scene in it when they like realized that they were actually zombies and they started freaking out and running around. And they had the song there. It's like, if you give me some time, I could probably recall it. God, but I'm mixing it up with that stupid that witch band that they pop up with. God, what was the sound? I'm mixing up the song now. Now that I'm trying to think of it, I can't. Shit. But yeah, Scooby-Doo was pretty cool. It was also really lame in a lot of regards, like looking back on it. Especially with the running in circles for hours bit. And like the cheesiness of it, I guess, is one way about it. But it was, yeah, it's what I grew up with. Scooby-Doo. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Things like that. And in later years, I think it was like Jimmy Neutron and such were some of the things I had. It was fun in itself, yeah, it was. But still, even as a kid, I picked up on that. They're just the background is just going in a circle. But yeah, it gave it a bit of the charm. I can't quite explain it. Charm is something really hard to quantify. Yeah, you have like all these odd little silly misadventures of people and things, and oh yeah, Digimon was a big one for me. I followed Pokemon as well back in the day, the original series, but I never quite followed any of the new stuff. No, straight up, I just never did because I never had the option to. But yeah, I did like Digimon, and I loved the Digimon movie. That was something I always thought was just flat out awesome. Because of just like how well the animation was. That's one of the big things that got me for that movie. Was just the animation quality. The yeah, maybe not the animation, but just how well everything was drawn was just so mind-blowing at the time. I was like, oh my god, did you see how cool those things were? And the fight scenes, and yeah, man, that was something else. What is that song? The stupid Scooby-Doo song. Because I'm trying to remember it now, I can't recall it, but every so often, even like years later, that song still pops in my head. Sometime like you're in the shower, it's like, oh yeah, that song, and you start just rocking out to it. Something like that. But what is it? I'm not gonna be able to remember any of it now. But a little bit of Digimon. But yeah, I watched Digimon seasons 1 and 2, and then I think at that point we like stopped having cable TV, so I wasn't able to watch any of that stuff anymore. But it was pretty cool. I like Digimon. I like the designs and aesthetics and how it was a bit darker than Pokemon at times, and that is one thing I see in a lot of shows and like things nowadays. Nobody is really willing to explore dark themes. Everything is always happy-go-lucky sunshine rainbows. With maybe, oh no, we popped our balloon, let's find a way to fix it. And look, our friend over here, and all that kind of weird stuff. And as opposed to like hell, in Digimon there's this one episode I really remember. One of the guys, Izzy, was like kind of, he just got tricked and obsessed and started being, it wasn't really mind control, but he just got like so focused on doing working on this program or doing this stuff, and he just got so obsessed that he was pushing his Digimon partner away, and it was a very actually dark thing to watch. Hell, there was the Batman the Animated Series. Even in that show they had a bit where Robin got mind controlled by the Joker and was actually in like psychological trauma that they showcase on the show. Some other things, just like big things that actually affect you, like depression or separation from family, odd things like that. The big hard-hitting projects. Shows and TVs and like just the world at large nowadays tries really hard to shy away from that and like say it doesn't exist, but it does. It's a part of the world we live in, and to ignore it would be like ignoring the sky. It's there. It's a part of life. It's not something you can just willy-nilly say, oh no, don't worry about that, it don't exist. It's there. And yeah, I love the cartoons or the shows that start working with a deeper meaning, a deeper tone. A good one is Teen Titans. Teen Titans, the original Teen Titans, not Teen Titans Go. I haven't seen it, but it looks like a kind of a joke. Yeah, and like you remember those things, they hit you. One for Pokemon is the Butterfree episode. Years later, this one stupid episode I remember. Ash Ketchum, the Pokemon guy, he caught a Caterpie, and he sat there and was raising up this Caterpie into a Metapod, basically a caterpillar to a cocoon, and then it evolved into a butterfly. And he'd been going around with the butterfly for so long, and then the one episode, the butterfly had to leave. He had to go along with the other butterflies to do butterfly things, and Ash kind of reluctantly but willingly let him go and let him be. And it was a very emotional scene, especially as a dumb kid. And I remember that show. I remember that episode. It was talking about the dealing with people and friends move on, and you gotta let them go. And that's not a happy-go-lucky rainbow sunshine thing. This is an aspect of life thing. And there's all sorts of things. Or like in the Teen Titans one, Robin has to go up against Slade, and he has to work really hard at being trying to play the double game, trying to not hurt his friends while this crazy maniac is forcing him to. And he's being torn between trying to save his friends and not letting go of his humanity. And it's just really big things. Or Avatar. That's actually a really good example of all of this shit. Avatar: The Last Airbender. If you guys, any of you guys haven't seen that, go watch that one. I think they're even having it on Netflix at the moment. There may be a live action one, but don't watch that. Watch the cartoon. That one was made in Nickelodeon, and was they touch on so many deep and philosophical things. It's insane. Uncle Iroh was the best, just hands down. And they touch on topics of honor, dignity, what it means to actually be a person, standing up for what you believe in, being abandoned, finding new things. And it's complicated things. There's one of the other ways to explain it is I've always seen it is when like movies and shows and stories dumb down a story so that kids could understand it. And there's a difference between dumbing down and simplifying. You can simplify a concept to understandable means, but dumbing it down is very different and actually I think destructive. Because kids aren't necessarily just stupid. Transformers. Oh yeah, I used to watch them too. I watched back in the day Transformers Beast Wars, where like Optimus Prime was a gorilla and what's his face? And the other guy was a T-Rex. Maybe I might pick that one up in a PC society. It's a bit. And I think part of the problem is when we, especially as like a society, don't touch it. Just, especially with like your own emotions, if you just straight up, that's not a thing, that's not a thing. If I don't look at it, it's not going to be there. But with your own emotions, such as like depression or anxiety and whatnot, by ignoring them and pretending that they don't exist, you're just exacerbating the problem. You need to confront issues. That's the only way to get past them. You can't pretend to be they don't exist, but that's just kind of a band-aid temporary solution. Technically speaking, you can ignore the problem for the rest of your life, but that just, it's not healthy. And I think we need to be able to look at emotions and problems and the deeper things and accept them and try and work with dealing with them. Because the world is not as seen in TV, where everything's just a laugh track away from being okay. There are problems, there are issues, there are things we can't fix, there are things that we aren't able to solve, and as such, we're just gonna have to deal with it. We have to deal with, I can't fix this, this is now a part of my life. Let's just deal with it, move on, see what we can get to. And other times, I can deal with it, but I gotta work through it. It's complicated. But getting back to the sorry, tangenting back a bit. Simplifying and dumbing down. I've seen it too many times where kid shows have just a dumb plot line, a dumb story. It's like, this man is good, that man is bad. The good guys have beaten the bad guys. We win. Yeah, you can do that, but that's never how it is in life. There is no fully good guy. There is no fully bad guy in life. In life, everything is gray. There's always a different shade of gray, no matter the thing. And so dumbing it down would be, there is only good and there is only bad. And I actually see that in adults somewhat, where they can only think in yes or no. They can't think in gradients. They can't think of yes, but actually no. It's just either it is this way or it is not this way. And I think that's, I need a bigger brush. One of the problems we have right now, people can't see the forest for the trees. They see a tree and therefore it is only a tree. That is all it'll ever be. And you have to explore deeper, complex issues to broaden your horizons and adapt and improve as a just in life. Because there's complicated things in life, complicated things you have to do. And hell, I've been through there. I've been through a depression, 6 years of depression, and it's still kind of lingering. But you learn. There's the phrase, that which doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And it is true. If it doesn't kill you, you learn to be better. You learn to move on. You learn to embrace it and keep moving forward. Just, no matter what happens, you know you can keep moving forward. At least that's my hope and that's my belief. Because I keep trying. Even if I get knocked down, even if things are looking horrible or bleak, I still keep trying. And there's been plenty of times it doesn't quite feel like that. I've run myself into a corner trying to figure out what the hell to do. But just keep going. One step at a time. And eventually you'll make it somewhere. Might not be where you thought you'd be, but you'll eventually make it to another place. Might be better, might be worse, but it might have new opportunities. New ways for you to explore. And adapt. And be. And hell. Sometimes the most unexpected things is the best thing that can happen to you. Because yeah, I tell this story often, but during those years after high school, I tried to make my own business. I tried programming, drawing, sculpting, jewelry, chainmail, all this stuff. Every single one of them ended in failure. Not a single one of them took off. Had no car, had no job, lost touch with my friends, still lived with my parents, didn't have my own room. I was literally sleeping in the living room on a couch for years, etc., etc. And my life, it didn't look hopeless, but I just didn't see a way out. I didn't have anything. And it kind of broke me a bit. But there was one day, I remember it very clearly. I set a deadline for myself. By New Year's, I was going to have at least a website set up, at least a project, at least something in the works that would, I could say I have completed something. New Year's came around. I did not have anything. I knew then and there that I had completely and utterly failed everything I had tried to do. But it was at that moment when I was at my worst that my entire life changed around. I hit my worst, and then I went out and got a job. And for having spent so many years of my life trying hard to make it on my own, doing that was a absolute sign of failure. But I went out, got a job at Walmart, the automotive department, and got some money, got myself a car, got myself a driver's license, got myself some new friends, got myself some new options. And it was at that point I realized that breakdown was the best thing that could have happened to me. My whole life turned around at that exact moment. It turned around. I got a job, I got money, I got a car, I got self-confidence. I then started up looking up a hobby because I now had the money and the means to do my own hobbies. So I looked up dancing, took up ballroom dancing, found out I loved it, wanted to do some more, picked up belly dancing, found out I loved that and I was really good at that. Because of that, I went to Portland, took on an adventure with the professional dancer, other people around the world. I started up this stream because I had confidence for it. I ended up, because of this stream, going to Germany and seeing my viewers there at an actual convention in another country, something I had never done before. And it wasn't until I let go of my current belief of how things should work and let life kind of take its course a bit and see where life takes me that everything just went okay. And the other thing I found out was, it's okay It's letting go of the control and seeing where life takes you. It's I've got this thing, don't quite know how to explain it, but it the way to see it was, I saw myself, I had no car, I had no job, I had no friends, I had no place to live on my own. Everything was bad and horrible, and I just saw everything in this little box and no way out. But I never made any moves to change that. I just kept looking at the four walls surrounding me, and that was all it was. But it wasn't until I metaphorically stood up and took a few steps that I realized those four walls were not as impenetrable as I thought they were. They were actually just cardboard cutouts in the exact orientation that it looked impenetrable. And I could just walk around and, oh yeah, I can walk outside. Duh, I had forgotten about that. And you end up locking yourself in your own mental construct, your own mental prison. I can't make it out. I can't do this. There's no way this will ever happen. But open your eyes. Try and see some new ways of doing it. Hell, ask other people. That was one of the big ones for me, actually. Talking to other people and seeing their perspective. Because when you okay, I'm stuck here. I can't do this. I can't do this. Okay, I can't do this. I can't do this. Okay, let's try. I can't do this. I can't do this. And you end up thinking yourself into a hole. And so I actually asked help from my parents and just, what do I do? And they gave me the simple option: you can try getting a job. That might help you. All right, let's give that a shot, because that was one thing I didn't quite want to do. I wanted to try and work out on my own. But getting that job helped me in many significant ways. More so than anything I could have thought of on my own. In ways I couldn't have even really thought of. Because I'd imagine it being a slow and steady grind, the starving artist type portrayal. And I saw it as, I could potentially get that stuff going, but it'd take a hell of a long time. But it's just, every so often, just think about letting go of everything you know currently and see where it'll take you. Try something completely out there, because you always have options, you always have choices. It may not be the most helpful, it may not be the most obvious, but you always have a choice. And things, for the most part, will be okay. Because one of the things for me was, I kept thinking I was just stuck in this one little room. This one little room was my life, a bit. Not this one, it's one over there. But it wasn't until I realized, oh yeah, there's more to the world than just this little room. There's stuff out there that I can go and explore and see. Why did you do that? Internet wigged out there for a bit. But yeah, there's more to it than what you see. And even if you're an absolute super genius, there's still something that you won't ever notice unless you have somebody else's help. The world is, what's the phrase? A hero cannot exist in a vacuum. Or something. You're not alone. You're not by yourself. There are other options. And hell, I still see myself falling into similar habits. One of the big ones being for me currently is I keep going to the same websites. The same old tried and true whatevers. But I never branch out from that, and I end up locking myself back into, this is all that exists. It's once you realize that, oh, there's other sites. I could go to this one over here that I had forgotten about, or this one that people are recommending. And you could see things like that. It's broaden your horizons, and you now have more options than you know what to do with. Because hell, for instance, I could, if I wanted to, just up and move to Timbuktu right now. Just pack all my stuff, jump on a plane, and fly over there right now. There's other sites than Google? No way! Yeah. And stuff like that. And the other thing is, Google's a good example of that. You get different options. If you type in something for Google, it'll give you the Google answers. You go into Bing, it'll give you the Bing answers. You go into DuckDuckGo, and it'll give you DuckDuckGo answers. And it's just even the same variable. Let's say look up Amazon on there, and Google will give you the Amazon website where you can buy all the stuff. Go to the Bing website, it'll give you the Amazon River. Go to DuckDuckGo, and it'll give you this character. And it's the same criteria, but it gives you a different viewpoint that you wouldn't have considered before, type of thing. It's stuff like that. And there's no way you'd ever really even think of it unless you went elsewhere, asked somebody else, looked at it from a different point of view, type of thing. Alright, this looks okay, but actually now this color here I think is too bright. I'd like to try and darken it and give it a more darker sunset tone so it can flow into the sky a bit better. So I'm gonna change this up. And see, I see this as an exact moment of growth for me. Because before I would have tried to get these colors exact, and none of that blue, it would have been only what it is. But now I'm trying to experiment. I'm trying new things and seeing where it takes me. I'm trying to broaden my horizons by literally drawing the horizon. Alright, so let's see. I've got you as a color. Maybe you will work. But too much paint. Alright, so let's try you and you. But yeah, I have hope and faith for the future, while still being completely horrified at what's going to happen sometimes, especially in America right now, and especially with me moving in the middle of it. That's still going to be something else. Yeah, I decided to move at the end of November because that was a good decision, right? But I'm going to hold myself to it. That's what I've been telling myself. That's what I'm going to be doing. That's what I'm going to work towards. And so that's what I'll be doing. And I'm very afraid of it, of what's going to happen in the world. At the same time, I have a lot of hope that it'll all work out. I have faith that I'll be okay. Now, I'm not going to be blind faith that everything is hunky-dory. I'm not going to have any problems whatsoever. That's another saying, working on it. It's not that you have the belief that nothing will go wrong. It's the belief that even if something goes wrong, I will be able to handle it. And that's actually a very big, very significant change in the belief. That's gloom and dread. Because looking at it from a practical perspective, what does doom and gloom actually do for you? It's you might worry about the world ending, but if the world ends, what are you going to do about it? You don't have a rocket. You can't bum a ride on NASA. So just enjoy life while you can. We're all going to die at some point. That is a given. I do not know that they have the scientific ability to make immunity quite yet, but until such a point, we are all going to die at some day. So don't take life so seriously. Just hang back, have some fun. That's what I'm trying to do. And the other one is making people's lives a little bit better. Because we all have doom and gloom. We all have problems. We all have issues and problems and everything. And so trying to say, my life is horrible because yada yada. Well, yeah, my life is horrible because yada yada. And then getting in a pissing contest over whose life is more miserable is just absolutely pointless. So just try and bring each other up. And it works out in... Wait a sec, this color is a little off. But it's just from a little practical expression. Um, if you look at it from, I always see a lot of it as you're like a bunch of people in a room, and like somebody's trying to climb up. If you drag them back down to your level to keep it even Steven, that doesn't help anybody. That just keeps everybody stationary, doom and gloom. But if you climb up and then bring somebody up with you, you improve the quality of life for anybody who's trying. You make things better. Then they can bring up more people and so on and so forth. Now, not everybody will do that. You'll always have the people doom and gloom and you're all gonna die. But so what? Yes, I will die. Yes, it'll happen. I'm not gonna worry about what may or may not happen. I'm just gonna try and live my life as I see it and see what happens. And that's kind of my philosophy. It's strange enough, I personally have never really been afraid of death. Not to the point of, oh my god, I'm gonna die. It's still a thing, and it worries me from time to time that things are gonna happen. But not so much that it paralyzes me. Yeah, it'll happen. But that's okay. I'll just be myself. And that's the big thing for me. I want to try and live a life that I'm proud of. Not like major accomplishments or whatever, or like being the first red-headed astronaut on the moon or anything crazy like that. But rather, I want to live life that I chose to. A life that I want to be. And do things that I want to do. Currently it's painting, chatting with you guys, talking about the philosophy of things. Go move on to Texas. Because I see a lot of it as well as people in life tend to get stuck. It's like, I can't do anything. This is my life now. And no, you always have the option of quitting your job, go and do something else, try something crazy. If it doesn't work out, you can try something else. It's getting harder and harder to do that nowadays, but it's still options. Just try it. Do something else. Now, I'm not promoting anybody actually quit their job, but it's an option. Because one of the things is, a lot of things in society now actually, where we get stuck in our rigid way of thinking. Like, I can, personal one actually, I've been trying to look into getting a job, things to do for when I move down to Texas, when that finally happens. And one of the options is, well, I gotta go online and find a job there. Well, yes, but there's also the option of quite literally going down the street and applying for a job. Hey, you guys open? Yeah. Got a job for me? Maybe. Come on in. And if you only live life that you can only get a job online, you can only do things this way, you have to have a Facebook account to do yada yada. Yes and no. And there's always a different way about it. You can try different things. Hell, you can even start up a business helping people move shit. Like, hey, you guys need a hand? Oh, yeah. Here, I'll pay you $20 to help me move this over here. Sure. Repeat that. And getting stuck in your current way of thinking doesn't always show you all the options. Because one of my plans is I move down there, I find a spot, get in there, and a little too much paint. And then just quite literally just walk the streets and figure out where I can get a job and try and find out what's out there. Because one of the other things is you have to have a job for this long, you have to do things this way, you have to have all this yada yada. And no, not really, because one of the current dilemmas for myself is currently I'm working at Radio Shack as the phone repair technician. I signed up and they wanted me to be there for quite a few years, and just a long term employee. And I was like, I guess I could work with that. But then I realized I wanted to move out here. Right, Reverse America on a road trip. I might catalog some of the stuff. I can't live stream the whole thing, but I'll maybe try and update you guys on the Discord or something when I do so. Oh, it does look like my dad might be joining me for the trip. He's still kind of thinking about it, but we might drive by the our family down in Arizona, and he might be able to say hello, which would be pretty cool. And one of the funny little aspects is when we moved up here, my folks have been looking for 15 years for the perfect place to live, and they found this place right here. But they had a couple of places they were thinking about at the time, and they wanted to make sure that it was actually what they said it was worth it. So me and my dad flew up here, and we scouted out some of the properties. I think I'm done painting for today. And we scouted out some of the properties, and because they wanted properties, 20-acre lot, lots of forest, away from town, things like that, but they wanted some power, yada yada, the preferences and such. So we flew up here and took a look at some of the areas, rented the car, drove around, and so some of the areas they were planning on building a house, building a shop where they could set up current living quarters while we were doing those buildings. And so my dad had me stand in positions. Okay, spread your arms out. Okay, this is the tent spot. Hey, take a picture. Okay, raise your arms up. This is a house spot for T and H. And so we drove around the county over here to the different properties, and like, okay, that might be a good spot. Okay, go stand up over there. Okay, tent spot, house spot. And so we just did that and walked around. And I bring this up because that was me and my dad's trip up here to find a place for all of us to live, and now I'm potentially bringing him down to Texas with me to try and find a place for me to live. And so I thought it might be funny. I even joked about it with him and have him stand outside like an apartment. Okay, here's the temporary spot, here's the potential home spot, and just a silly little thing like that. But yeah, it's been an adventure in my life, honestly. All sorts of twists and turns, and hell, we've got video because my mom wanted video of the property that we were looking at. Me and my dad walked up and down the property here. It was in winter. I think it was the end of winter. There was still snow there, but it was the end of winter, but there's still a lot of snow on the ground. And so we were sitting there marching through the snow, big old heavy jackets, big old boots and jeans, and just trudging through the property that we didn't really know. We knew the property lines, and so we started walking there. If you've ever done any property walking like that, it can be really tiring because you're not following a road, you're following kind of, I think that's the line up there, and okay, walk up through here through the snow. The snow was literally up to our crotch. That's how much snow we had to walk through in some spots, uphill, downhill, all around. And there were a couple spots where we just literally laid down in the snow and took a breather, and we're still filming. Okay, so those are the trees over there, and we walked down that path up there, and we're gonna work over here and stuff like that. So it's always interesting and stuff like that. And one of the fascinating things was my parents were looking at property, and one of them that they just absolutely loved from the online site. This is almost the perfect spot. They've got this, they've got a creek, they've got a river, a path to town, all sorts of stuff. This is the perfect spot. We should buy it. And they actually almost did buy it sight unseen, basically online only. But they talked a bit and decided to actually go there and actually check it out before they do a purchase, because there were a couple others that were okay, but they were unsure of. It turns out that perfect property was absolutely horrible. The driveway into the place was basically a cliff straight down into a little valley, and you had to drive the car, and the cliff was like literally like right there. You could stick your head out the window and look straight down. That was not very safe. And then you drove in, and it was this valley. It was like literally between two mountains. And so the property was all mountain that way and all mountain that way, and it was dark all the time. And it was technically good looking, but practically it wasn't. And so they decided, no, that's not going to be. And the property we're on now was actually one that the realtor just stepped out of the car, click, click, click. Okay, that's good, let's go. But it turns out that this property has a creek, but they didn't mention it. It has power, but they didn't mention it. It has some actual good building ground that they didn't have any pictures of because they never went up, down, and looked at it. It's got a little pasture down in that area that they had for a old lumber drop-off point, a staging ground. And this was the perfect spot that we had, but the realtor through the online options didn't show any of that. It wasn't until we actually came here and looked around, it's like, yeah, this is the spot. Oh hell. And while me and my dad were driving, we stopped up here, and I think this was the only place that we actually ran into our neighbors. We parked around, we're walking around, and they actually came on by and it's like, what are you guys doing? Oh, well, we're looking at potentially buying this place. Oh, you might be our neighbors. And we even have them on video. It's like, and they said, oh, hey, say hi to my wife. Her name's like, hello, Nat, how you doing? So-and-so, this is Tim, and this is John, and we're gonna be your neighbors, maybe. See you later. And just friendly atmosphere, that type of stuff. And we became good friends with them as the years went by. But we talked to them, and they told us, we didn't think you guys would make it. We came up from Phoenix, Arizona, a desert country area, and we moved to a very snowy area. And actually, one of our first experiences when we were here was we finally moved all our stuff. We loaded a big U-Haul, dumped it in a storage container, made our way to the property, and we're setting up tents and stuff to try and just basic setup type stuff. But it was raining a bit and it had some mud. We managed to make it up to on top of our property, but we got stuck because we had summer tires from the desert, which was street driving, and we were in the mud. We couldn't get our car back down because it was stuck in the mud. And so we're like, we are now, for reference, 20 miles from town, with our only car here stuck in the mud, in the middle of the woods, on top of a mountain, filled with potentially bears and wolves and all sorts of shit. And we don't know anybody. Wait, we do know somebody. The neighbor, didn't he say he might help us? Where did he live? At the end of the road. Oh, okay. Let's try and walk there. So our whole family, we got out of the truck and we started walking down the road in this somewhat unfamiliar area. And we were holding umbrellas because it was raining, and we're Phoenicians, Arizonians, and unused to this thing called rain. And so we're just walking down there kind of worried, and we go up to the neighbor's door and knock on the door. Hello? Oh, Nate? Hello? Who are you? It turns out that my neighbor is Tim. It used to be Tim, and his wife was Birdie. And she's like, Hey, Tim, what? I think I just saw umbrellas. Umbrellas? Where the hell are you thinking you saw umbrellas out here? Nobody has umbrellas out here, in the middle of the forest. And no, I saw umbrellas. I know I did. Then we knocked on the door and, hey, look, Tim, see, I told you, I did see umbrellas. And so we talked to him, and he had some big equipment and some trucks, and he got us out of the mud. And that was how we officially met our neighbor, by them pulling us out of the mud of our own driveway. To add to that, we met another neighbor by then repaying the favor and pulling them out of their own driveway with our truck. And the world works in silly, mysterious ways like that. And so we went to the neighbor. First thing we did when we got there was ask the neighbor to pull us out of our driveway. And we did. The next thing we did was get mud tires. Then later on, we had another neighbor, and through the grapevine, they knew that we had a rig that could potentially do it. So they came up, asked us if we could help pull them. Oh yeah, sure, we can do that. Towed them up, pulled them out, and that's how we met that set of neighbors. And then because of that, we met some other friends of theirs, and we've got neighbors all over the place, 15 miles that way, 10 miles that way, and they're still our neighbors. And it's just fascinating how like the world just kind of works sometimes. Because yeah, in Phoenix we had neighbors to the behind us and two to the side of us, but like literally suburbs, house on a block. But I quite literally never saw them. In like my 15 years of living there, I saw that neighbor's car pull into the driveway every so often, but I never saw him. The lady to the right of us, I knew of her. I think I saw her like twice while I was living there. There was a family behind us, and I could see them like through the knots of the fence, but I never knew them. I never saw them. They were our neighbors, but they might as well not have existed. And then you move up here, and you've got neighbors there down the street. You've got neighbors over there, across there, down the highway, and you know them by name. You know what they do, and all sorts of stuff. And it was just an interesting way of the world working. And again, if you like are stuck in the this is what a neighbor is. That person over there that lives next to me, and that's all a neighbor is. As opposed to up here, is the neighbor is a friend who lives just down the road, and over there is willing to help. And it's just shift of mindset can open up all sorts of possibilities. And just the oh wow, it is 6. Just all that little stuff. And it's honestly amazing how some of that stuff works. And once you let go of your closed way of thinking and actually try and go in new options, all sorts of things open up. Yeah, one of the other things is my family's family thought we were a bit crazy for just moving out in the middle of the woods, and you can't build a house, you don't know how to do that. Yeah, but I can learn. It's crazy. Just you need to buy a house and refinance and do things like that. That's the way you're supposed to do it. Yeah, we could do that, or we could do this, which we did. And currently I've ended up, me and my dad built this room here entirely out of our own wood. We had logs that blew over, cut them into planks, put them into boards, and then we built this cabin here. And it just, the world works out. Once you let go of what has to be and start embracing what could be, all sorts of things pop up. But anyway, that is it for today. I'm going to give you a bit of a view of what I've done for the sky so far. I think that came out pretty good. Little odd with some of the blue to the orange, but I think it's pretty good. But yeah, that'll be it for today. And we'll see where tomorrow takes us. Anyway, have a good one, guys. Enjoy. It may be troublesome now, but it'll get better. It kind of has to. It's the world springs back, or it won't. Either way, just it is what it is. Oh, really? Yeah, go ahead and send me a DM, and I'll take a look at it. Road trips, huh? I don't know of any road trip movies other than like RV or like family vacation. Safety not guaranteed. That was mentioned. I think you might have mentioned that before. I think, isn't that the time travel one? Yeah, I think that was mentioned. I think I tried looking into it. I'll look into it again. Hopefully the world springs back. Well, not hopefully, it will. Because just worst case scenario, the whole planet gets like wiped out. Everybody's dead. So trees and stuff will grow back, and life will begin anew. It will spring back, maybe just not in the way you think it will. But yeah, everything will work out. Anyway, see you later. I'll check out those movie references for you. Alright, cool. Thank you. I'll do it. So, take care.